American dream, ho. I'm the American nightmare.
So there's a saying where we're from. The pen is mightier than the sword. And there's there are many intellectuals and poets that have come out of our region. Some of the people that shifted really the worldview of where we're from. But I'd rather know as an MC, what's your favorite way to start a song? Do you like to write on your own or write to music right away?
I think I got so many ways. And that's something that I do on purpose. Like I kind of change the approach. I don't want the approach to get boring, you know? So when I make music, I'm kind of letting the room, my vibe that day, what's going on in my life or what I'm seeing that might be inspiring me. I let that dictate what's gonna happen, you know? And a lot of times it'll start with, maybe I wanna say something, so I'll write a couple bars down and we build off that, or, you know, I'll hear one of the guys make something dope and it'll inspire me to start writing right away. And then other times I'll write the whole, like the verses with no music, you know, just so I can kind of focus on the poetry of it, you know? So I think me changing my approach every time I come in here is like what's helped me keep it fresh and last this long. And,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely. I'm gonna ask you, this is gonna be tough because you're gonna have to go through your mental Rolodex. But what's your favorite verse or bar that you've written of yours? So many. Could be something recent, you know? I told you, this is the hot seat, bro.
And they crucify us, then get mad that we the new messiahs. Salute the giants, because David became the new Goliaths.
Okay, that's it up. That's
That was very one.
Favorite Jay-Z bar?
Flowers need water to grow, it gotta rain. In order to experience joy, you need pain.
Favorite pun bar?
Oh man,
Pun's tough.
oh yeah. You know, I'm just gonna do this one because a lot of people can't.
Yeah, yes, exactly, yes, please.
So I'm gonna like say, dead in the middle of little, did he know that he riddled the middleman who didn't do diddly. I'm gonna say that for pun. Definitely a line that lasted, timeless line that lasted so many years.
And I would say Nas, favorite Nas bar.
You know what? Like I was always a Nas fan. Probably after Big died, because there was a lot of confusion when Big was alive. So as a kid, you know, your loyalty to like the artists you love is crazy. Like I would have probably tried to fight Nas when I was like 14 years old over, you know, the fake kind of beef that was being talked about, you know what I mean? So I didn't really, in that era of like really absorbing this type of stuff, I studied Nas later on when I knew I was gonna be a rapper. And I was like, so you gotta, this is someone you have to study.
He's a code, yeah.
You know, obviously that's when I fell in love with the music and stuff, you know, but yeah, I think in those years and like the lines I'm giving you are like lines that I really was kind of thought I was gonna do it, but I didn't really know. I was just a super fan of the art form.
Listen, you've worked with the greats, bro. You've worked with great MCs, great artists, great, you know, people in multiple genres. And, you know, if I was to just name a few, one that's very close to you is Abel, you know, and then you've worked with Beyonce, you've worked with artists from all these different genres. And it's hard to, sometimes as a writer, it's hard to leave yourself, right? Leave yourself out the room. So what's your approach when you're writing for other people? What's your initial like preparation when you go in? Is it quite specific to every person, or do you tap into a more like general human space for feelings, you know?
Same type of thing. I think rappers want to be singers, and singers want to be rappers, and ball players want to be movie stars, and movie stars want to be, you know, so it's funny because when you get to the top of the mountain, you're like, you know, you're almost enamored by something that you love or respect, and you know, you get inspired by it. So I think when I come in to write for other artists, I'm never trying to like tap into what I think they want. I feel like they're in the room for a reason. They want what I bring. Whereas I'll never approach the thing like, this is what this artist wants, so I'm gonna make this. I'm like, what do I feel like making today? And then I make it and I'm like, could they do this? You know, is it possible? You know what I mean? And a lot of times it's super collaborative because I don't want to take that part of the personal process out of their art too.
Yeah.
So I try to make sure that I'm like, no, I wanted to tap in, not to the genre or the type of music you want, but at least like that emotional thing, that emotional space that you want to get into, let's tap into that, at least together. So I'm not writing your diary for you, like everyone's sitting here kind of collaborating on this, you know what I mean? So the same thing, man. I think I always change the approach. I've been blessed to work with a lot of artists that
Legends.
I don't gotta do much in my own mind. You know what I'm saying? I'm so enamored by what they do when I'm in the room that I'm like, sometimes you can get like imposter syndrome.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. Is like, I have to step away from the person that you know versus the person that's the public, the forward-facing artist. Like, you have to remove that from the role of writing the songs. Very difficult.
I mean, it's a balance of humility and remembering who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really what it is. It's being humble enough to know that we're just people. Like, this is something that we do. We're blessed to have these, talents or whatever, but we're like everybody else. And also knowing that when it comes to delivering, like, you're the man, and you gotta remind you, and it's hard sometimes, especially when you're in the room with these giants.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, like, I feel like maybe I don't belong, but pushing through and making stuff that makes my mom proud, then you're like, okay, maybe I did it. Maybe I was in the room for a reason, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I think we're off camera, we're talking about limitations of rap, the expansiveness of your career defies that. But there's always a limitation when you're a rapper. People's perception of you, they limit you to just being that, right. And then also like having to feed into a public persona that's outside you as an individual that you've created, like where do you find inspiration when you hit the wall? You know what I mean? Have you always been?
I hit the wall all the time.
Yeah.
I hit the wall all the time and I just step away.
You read?
I love reading.
What's your top 5 books or top 2 books?
I love The Alchemist. I love The Celestine Prophecy. I got.
Either Beyond Civilizations. Have you read that?
No. Sapiens. Incredible book. Homo Deus. Incredible book. I think like a lot of the stuff I read is almost like, how do I shed whatever skin I need to shed today and then just be a better version tomorrow type of thing. I don't read like straight up self-help books. I want somebody to
tell you a story.
Yeah, and kind of like rewire me without telling me that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like books that are too just trying to feed you like a concept that we all kind of know already. It's like, I know this. Like, my brain tells me this already. Like, how do I shake the tendencies to not do what I know I need to do? And a lot of these books, they could shape the psychology that you have because they're telling you why you think certain things and where these things are coming from. And then you're like, oh shit, okay, I'll just delete this. And now I feel better about this now, so I like those type of books. And like you said, like books that could teach me something through a story, as opposed to being like, let me preach to you for 319 pages,
Yeah, rap is like storytelling, reading books and going back into yourself before you externalize any of your feelings or your thoughts. Like, we write stories, even if it's not a storytelling track, you're really taking people through a journey of your understanding of life,
For sure.
And I found that your projects, post the hiatus that you took and you came back and really like went hard with the projects, like full, sonic universes that you brought, as Belly. Do you go in with a master thought that you want to tackle, whether it comes to mumble rap or do these come at the end of the process where you give it the name and then it kind of comes together? What's your Like, what's your process? I'm really interested in process.
And that's a great question. I think albums only really become themed for me, like, by the time it hits the sequel. Like, I don't know I'm making a themed album when I'm making it. Like, in Zambia, I was just in that era of, like, I was watching a lot of horror movies. I was going through some dark horror movie type shit, and I made that album. And now if I was to ever do it in Zambia too, it's like I know exactly where I need to go be at for that, right? Like, I can't do in Zambia too and, you know, be in Switzerland, you know, by a river, like drink a wine or something. Like, it really has to be. And I would never want to, you know, try to reenact something that happened, but I would definitely try to venture into what's dark about life right now. What I would have to go there in order to do in Zambia. Mumble Rap 2, same thing. When I did 1, I knew I was getting together with Boy Wonder, one of my favorite producers in the world for rap beats. Like, super, super inspirational type of producer, plays a beat. The lyrics kind of just come to me. So I knew I was gonna make that like kind of like a rap-centric, bar-centric album. Then when I did 2, I was like, there's nowhere else to go with it. Like, I have to make it this way. Then Hit Boy with number 2, right? So same type of thing. One of my favorite producers when it comes to just giving people soundtracks to just be able to rap to. And I was like, all right, this is the perfect match for Mumble Rap 2. So I knew what the theme was going to be based on just real life consequence of number 1. You know, not to say I'm going to do it in Zambia too. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't want to go back to that space.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I could, to be honest with you.
Yeah. We were talking about retirement. You know, you've been through so many eras. Like, you had the Capital Profits era. You had, you know, you started Belly, you started writing for other people. You've done so much, bro. You know, to the point where, you know, some of the GOATs really acknowledged you, and it wasn't even like a cosign situation. It was like, no, of course Belly is one of the best writers. But there comes a time in a rapper's life where it's like, I want to hang this cape up, you know? And recently you voiced that. So if you were to look back at your career, what are your top 5 favorite moments that you experienced as Belly or as, you know, a public artist?
Tough.
It's tough. You've been through a lot.
I'm gonna say, I mean, number 1, still being here with most of the people I came in with. Gotta be number 1. Can't beat that.
Mashallah.
You know, mashallah. And a small on top.
Smallah.
I want to say never like subscribing to any of the cutthroat whack shit in the industry. And I know these aren't moments, but to me, they signify at least big milestones.
Decisions.
A big moment was having Jay-Z talk about me in an interview, just to say what he said.
It was a proud moment for us, for the people.
Thank you very much, brother. But you know, I think just looking up to somebody like Hov my whole life, studying his bars, trying to figure out how did he even think of this, and how did he layer it with 3 different meanings, and like he made me explore words and rap way further, you know, than I think I would have if he wasn't around, you know. And so just to hear him say the things, like my career could have ended that day. No joke. There's no Grammys or none of that that could have beat that moment for me, you know. I'm gonna say, this isn't a moment, but moments when I run into fans that tell me that my music has helped them in any way. I mean, it helps me. So it's like a real relatable moment, a moment we have in common. Just being able to bow out gracefully. That's my I didn't get canceled, man.
You made it. You finished the video game.
I'm a bow out, you know? And I always wanted to bow out gracefully. I always talk about the phoenix in my music. It's like a big, like overarching theme that I have is about the phoenix. Of, you know, we all burn out, but what's important is reinventing, you know, coming back better. That's what I feel this moment is for me. It's like I'm manifesting all the Phoenix bars that I ever put in those raps. Because it's time for me to, you know, take this creativity, point it somewhere else, and try other things. And at least I can be confident with my own decisions, whether they succeed or fail, they're my own decisions. And that's why I want to kind of take control of everything on my own.
You know, as we said when we started, this is the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, 30 years of Arab hip-hop, and over 20 years of your career, you know, of writing. But in the process, being visitors in this culture and being allowed to voice, you know, creating our own voice within a culture that already existed, we've had the privilege of witnessing, you're talking about Phoenix, but of witnessing amazing human beings say amazing things that changed our lives. And one of them was Nipsey for me as a MC and as a person in the culture, as a practitioner. You had the privilege of working with Nipsey. Is there a beautiful memory that you could share with me of any interaction that you had with him that the world should know about his character and his acumen as an individual?
I mean, a lot of times you meet people that have a persona in the public eye, and they're like not that person. You know, I think he was 100% authentic to who you saw on camera was who you saw behind the camera. He was the realest person in terms of that. And I think a funny story is to show you his character, you know, and my own kind of fandom in terms of his music. The first like 4 times that we met up in studios, we just listened to each other's music. You know, we just wanted to play each other the newest stuff we had. Like, it wasn't even about, yeah, let's make something together now. You know, it was like such a respect I had that he'd get in the room and I'd be like, yo, play me whatever you've been working on. Like, I needed to hear the new stuff, you know what I mean? And then he would do the same. So I want to say like the first 3 sessions, we never actually, even Double Up wasn't done in person, right? But we had been in the studio more than a few times before that. And every single time, it was just like, nah, play me that, play me this joint. All right, I'm gonna play, you know, so we just spent hours just playing each other joints. And that's probably my only experience where like something like that has happened with somebody and it's been like genuine, where I actually wanted to hear them press play, right? And they wanted to hear me press play the same way, right? So a lot of people, obviously I want to hear more than a few people press play in the studio. Not to say they're gonna want that same energy from me, yeah. Right? It's not, and I don't expect them to. They might be a fan of something else. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't take it personal, but with Nip, it always felt good. And you know, the same type of thing happened with Ho. We're like, Ho will come in the studio and be like, play me music. And I was like, this is so dope.
So dope.
Yeah, like, that to me is like the greatest, you know, the greatest memories I have in Nip. I think he's just the realest, definitely the realest artist that I met.
Allah yarhamah, man, all our brothers and sisters that passed away in this thing we call rap, you know. Bro, you know, you're the first Palestinian English rapper to make it in the game. It's a big bucket. You've broken many boundaries with your work, and you've paved a unique path, you know. What would you want your legacy to be at the end of all of it? Like, what do you want people to remember?
I'm kind of living in my legacy, man. You know, and I think that's why it's time for me to make the moves I'm making now, because when I see the wave of young Arab artists right now that are, you know, worldwide artists that are touring, that are making a life out of this, and, you know, just to hear some of them be like, oh yeah, you know, Belly was one of my inspirations, or when I hear that type of stuff, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of living out what I always wanted to see, right? And that's us get like a fair chance at this and feel like we can actually do it, not feel like it's impossible. And you know, once that happens, it just opens up the rest of the world to people that never even knew that part of the world existed, right? And that's probably my proudest thing in the world. There's nothing that I love more than when I hear something like that. And it's not even about the fact that they're mentioning my name. It's just about the fact that it's like, oh, you saw something And we're like, okay, yeah, I get it. Maybe I only climbed to this part. Belly got here. The next guy is gonna get here. And the next guy gonna be here. And then, so I don't mind what part of the mountain I'm sitting on, as long as everybody watched and got to see that this isn't impossible, bro. You know, this is real. And if you, I'm not even gonna say work hard, because people work hard and don't make it. It's not about that. You know, if you know how to put it all together, you know, that's really what it is. The timing, the stars aligning, you working hard, your talent, when everything comes together like this, the world is yours. And to be able to look out and see young Arabs doing that right now,
Yeah.
living the legacy, brother.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. The last question I wanted to ask you was, the Middle East or the Arab world or Arab music is really popping right now. It's starting to bubble more than it's ever in our lifetime as creators. And it's a beautiful thing to witness, I think, because the foundation was built.
Absolutely.
We came from a foundation that was built for us. We learned from that foundation, and we helped set a foundation for the new generation. Who are you listening to right now from the community? And then where do you see, like, who or where do you see it going from here? You know, speaking of Arab MCs, you know, we came from a foundation, hip hop, set the foundation, and now there's a new generation. Who do you think is coming up that's going to be next? Who are you listening to? And what do you think it takes for it to go global?
I don't listen to much, right? But I'm gonna say I like that. I gotta shout out the guys that I know, that I love everything I hear from. Skinny, Young Emotion, my brother Ramsey, incredible artist. And man, like if you even look at the roster of guys we have, you know, guys like Realist K, somebody that's not directly associated with us, but somebody that shows love, Saint Levant. You see a wave of Arabic artists, young Arabic artists right now coming up that don't all have to sound alike. They all found their own genre and their own pocket, their own lane. Even their visuals all have their own theme, which is something that we don't really see a lot of anymore.
Yeah.
And that's something that I love and respect, you know? And it's like, I don't care if it's everybody's cup of tea or not. At the end of the day, it's something that someone out there is enjoying. Otherwise, it wouldn't be having the type of traction it has. That means it's resonating with somebody. And you gotta respect it. You gotta respect the fact that as Arabs, as young creatives in general, we're fighting uphill, right? So the fact that people were able to climb any part of this mountain is incredible. So to watch all these young guys do it is the best part of this.
I think we're good. Thank you, bro.
Yes, sir.
With a whole magazine, I subscribe to violence.